When the storm breaks, it doesn't always start with thunder. Sometimes chaos begins in silence, a hesitation, a moment of doubt, a subtle unease that creeps into the corners of your soul. And other times it arrives like a crashing wave, sudden, violent, and loud, pulling you under before you even realize the tide has shifted. It's the unexpected phone call, the text that breaks your heart, the diagnosis that shakes your world, the email that changes your future. It's the chaos that arrives without warning and refuses to leave quickly. And when it does, it turns everything upside down. What once felt secure becomes fragile. What once seemed clear now feels uncertain. You look around and don't recognize the landscape of your life anymore. You feel like a foreigner in your own story. Your breath becomes shallow. Your heart races. Your prayers become cries, sometimes wordless, sometimes angry, sometimes so weary that all you can whisper is, "God, please." We've all been there. In some form or another, we've stood in the middle of our own personal storm, clutching onto pieces of a life that no longer feels whole. And if we're honest, the most painful part isn't always the loss. It's the silence, the in-between, the sense that God is quiet, that heaven has turned its face, that your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling, falling back onto your chest like weights. You wonder where peace went. You wonder if you'll ever feel whole again. You wonder if maybe, just maybe, you did something to deserve this. That thought alone can destroy you. It becomes the new chaos, not just what's happening around you, but what's happening inside of you. You wake up in the morning and the storm greets you before your feet hit the floor. You go to bed at night and chaos is the last voice whispering to your heart. You try to smile in public, but you're unraveling in private. You try to quote Bible verses to yourself, but they sound like foreign language. You sit in church, and while others worship, you wonder how they can lift their hands when your arms feel too heavy to move. Maybe that's where you are now. Maybe the storm hasn't let up. Maybe the waves keep crashing, and every time you think you're about to breathe, another wave hits. Maybe your boat feels like it's sinking, and Jesus feels like he's asleep. That's exactly how the disciples felt. They had Jesus in their boat, and yet the storm still came. They had the Son of God beside them, and they still feared for their lives. They screamed, "Don't you care that we're drowning?" Let that sink in. They had Jesus in the boat, and they still felt afraid. That should give you comfort, not condemnation. Because your fear doesn't mean you failed. Your anxiety doesn't mean you've lost faith. Your chaos doesn't cancel his presence. Because here's the truth. God is not absent in the storm. He's in it. With you. Right now. He never promised us a life without trouble. He never said the storms wouldn't come. But he did say something else. Something radical. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. That peace he talks about, it's not the kind that shows up once the storm ends. It's the kind that meets you in the middle of it. It's not the absence of the waves, it's the presence of the one who walks on them. There's a difference between peace and relief. Relief comes when the problem is gone. Peace comes even when the problem stays. Relief is circumstantial. Peace is supernatural. When your world is shaking, when your hands are trembling, when your voice is breaking, when your mind is racing, that's when the peace of Christ shows its real power. It holds you, grounds you, speaks to you in a voice that cuts through the chaos. It says, "I'm still here." There is something holy about those moments when you realize your storm didn't destroy you, when you realize you're still standing, still breathing, still believing, maybe weakly, but still. That's grace. Peace isn't always pretty. Sometimes it's gritty, sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's just getting through the next 5 minutes without falling apart. Sometimes it's crying while you worship, sometimes it's shaking while you trust. But it's peace all the same. And here's what's beautiful. Every storm has an expiration date. Every night has a morning. Every chaos has a boundary. It may not feel like it now, but it's true. The winds will calm, the waves will settle. And when they do, you'll discover something new. Not just about God, but about yourself. You'll see that your faith wasn't fake, it was forged. That your worship wasn't shallow, it was warfare. That your tears weren't wasted, they were water for the seeds of your testimony. The storm is not the end of your story. It may be the chapter that hurts, but it's not the final page. Because God is not just the God of still waters. He's also the God of crashing waves, and He's not afraid of your chaos. In fact, He specializes in it. He's the one who brings order out of nothing, who speaks light into darkness, who breathes peace into panic, who walks into rooms full of fear and says, "Peace be with you." He's the one who calms storms, not always outside of us, but always within. So if you feel like your world is falling apart, you're in the perfect place for God to do something new. Let Him speak peace over you. Let Him hold the pieces you can't carry anymore. Let Him be your stillness, your anchor, your refuge. You don't have to wait until it's over to find peace. You can find it now, because peace isn't a place, it's a person. And His name is Jesus, anchored in the middle. Peace in the middle of chaos isn't about pretending the storm doesn't exist. It's about knowing who anchors you in it. When the world feels unsteady, when your thoughts spiral, when uncertainty stretches before you like an endless road, what holds you firm? What keeps your soul from unraveling? It's not more information. It's not forced positivity. It's not even certainty about how everything will turn out. It's presence, God's presence. There's a reason the Bible calls Him Emmanuel, God with us. Not just when things are perfect, not just in mountaintop moments, but in the valley, in the confusion, in the waiting rooms, in the moments when your prayers feel unanswered and your heart feels unguarded. That's where He shows up. Not as a distant observer, but as a present redeemer. And that's where your faith becomes real. Being anchored doesn't mean you don't feel the waves. It means the waves don't define your direction. You can still cry, still question, still wrestle, but underneath it all, there's something holding you. Someone. A deep, steady assurance that you're not drifting, even if it feels like you are. Imagine a ship at sea during a storm. The sky darkens, the winds howl, the waves crash, but deep beneath the surface, buried in the seafloor, the anchor holds. The ship may rock, it may groan, it may take on water, but it does not drift. That's what God does for us. He doesn't always remove the storm, but He gives us something stronger than the storm. Himself. Hebrews 6:19 says, "We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure." This hope isn't wishful thinking. It's not empty optimism. It's the unshakable confidence that God is who He says He is, and He will do what He promised. It's a hope rooted not in circumstances but in character, the character of a faithful, loving, present God. Sometimes that anchor is all that keeps you from unraveling. You hold on to verses like a lifeline. You repeat the promises of God like a heartbeat. He will never leave me. He is for me. He works all things for my good. They may feel like whispers in a hurricane, but they are truth, and truth is stronger than the storm. Peace doesn't always feel like peace. Sometimes it feels like breathless trust. Sometimes it feels like shaking hands raised in worship. Sometimes it's the strength to get out of bed. Sometimes it's the courage to keep praying, even when nothing has changed. But it's peace all the same. Because peace isn't passive, it's powerful. It doesn't ignore reality, it declares a greater one. It says, "My God is bigger than this." It looks chaos in the eye and refuses to bow. It anchors us to something eternal in the face of everything temporary. Think about Peter again. He stepped out of the boat while the storm was still raging. That's courage. That's faith. And that's the invitation to you and me. Not to wait for the waves to calm, but to walk toward Jesus in the middle of them. The key is focus. What you focus on will shape your emotions, your choices, your peace. Fix your eyes on Jesus, not the waves, not the noise, not the uncertainty. Fix your eyes on the one who walks on water, who calms storms with a word, who never lets go. Fix your eyes on the cross, where chaos met redemption. Fix your eyes on the empty tomb, where death gave way to life. Fix your eyes on the promises that have carried generations of believers through wars, famines, failures, and heartbreak. Because your storm is not the first, and it won't be the last. But the same God who was faithful then is faithful now. You are not the first to be afraid. You are not the first to feel overwhelmed. You are not the first to think, "I can't make it." But you will make it. Not because you are strong, but because He is. God doesn't expect you to be unshakable. He just asks you to be held, and He is holding you. In the doctor's office, in the courtroom, in the quiet moments of heartbreak, in the chaos of your thoughts, He is there. And His peace isn't far, it's right there in the middle, anchoring you to hope, to truth, to Himself. So when the storm rages, don't look for escape, look for Him. Because the storm might not be over yet, but neither is your story. The eye of the storm. There's something mysterious and sacred about the eye of a storm. Surrounded by swirling chaos, it's the calmest place in the tempest. No matter how violent the winds rage around it, the center holds stillness. That paradox is something we've seen in nature, but it's also a picture of what God offers us. Not a life without storms, but a center of stillness in the middle of them. God doesn't always remove the storm, but He draws us into the eye of it, into His presence. It's there, when everything else is swirling, that He invites us to be still and know that He is God. Psalm 46, that kind of stillness isn't silence. It's not passivity. It's not checking out emotionally or spiritually. It's a defiant peace, a rooted, grounded confidence. It's the quiet assurance that no matter how loud life gets, God is not overwhelmed. When Elijah ran from Jezebel and found himself in a cave, exhausted and afraid, God didn't come in the wind or the earthquake or the fire. He came in a whisper, a still small voice. Why? Because stillness isn't found in the absence of noise. It's found in intimacy. You don't have to wait for the storm to stop to hear from God. You can lean in right now, right where you are. Amid the chaos, confusion, and unanswered questions, He's not speaking over the storm, He's speaking in it. And here's what's wild. You can be surrounded by swirling circumstances and still experience an inner stillness that makes no sense to the world. Paul called it the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4:7. That's what happens in the eye of the storm. It's not logical, it's not explainable, but it's real, and it's strong enough to carry you. Some people won't understand how you're still standing, how you can smile, how you can worship, how you can have hope. But they don't see the anchor. They don't hear the whisper. They don't know the one who holds your heart. When your chaos doesn't match your calm, that's when the testimony begins. You can walk into rooms where everyone else is panicking and bring peace. Not because you're special, but because the Prince of Peace walks with you. You become a carrier of peace, an agent of stillness, a lighthouse in someone else's storm. Your very presence can shift the atmosphere, not because of who you are, but because of who's in you. And that stillness you carry, it's not just for you. It's a witness, a declaration, a sign that God is real, that He's not just theology, He's reality. In a culture addicted to noise, stillness is a radical act of trust. In a world that equates movement with progress, resting in God is revolutionary. Stillness doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means you're letting God be the one who acts. Psalm 37 verse 7 says, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him." That's hard. We want to fix things, solve things, control things. But stillness says, "I trust you more than I trust myself." And that's where transformation happens. When you're in the eye of the storm, the outside might still look wild, but inside something is shifting. Your fear begins to lose its grip. Your faith starts to rise. Your heart becomes anchored to a deeper reality than what you see. So don't be afraid of the storm. Don't run from it. Let it drive you deeper into the presence of the one who calms it. When peace becomes your testimony, peace isn't just a concept, it's a witness. When you walk through chaos and still hold on to calm, people notice. When storms come and your soul isn't shaken, it speaks. It preaches louder than sermons, reaches deeper than slogans, and carries the kind of weight that breaks down walls in people's hearts. Because peace in chaos is not natural, it's supernatural. And when people see something supernatural, they can't help but wonder what's behind it. There's a reason Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." Not the peacekeepers, the peacemakers. People who carry peace into places that don't have it. People who don't just avoid conflict, but who release the atmosphere of heaven wherever they go. People who radiate calm in a culture of chaos, who choose to respond instead of react, who bring clarity into confusion, who carry Jesus, not just in name, but in nature. Think of the early church. They weren't just preaching peace, they were living it. When Peter was imprisoned about to face possible execution, he was sleeping so soundly that the angel had to strike him to wake him up. That's peace. That's supernatural rest in a natural crisis. And it's not reserved for apostles. It's available to you. Your peace is a message. It tells the world, my God is bigger than this. It testifies, my hope is not built on what I see, but on who I trust. It declares, I don't need the storm to stop to have peace. I have peace because I know who's with me in the storm. And the more chaotic the world becomes, the more powerful your peace will be. It's easy to be calm when things are good, but when you're calm and your world is falling apart, that's when people lean in. That's when they ask questions. That's when doors open. That's when God moves through your story. Revelation 12:11 says, they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Your testimony isn't just what God did after the storm. It's what he's doing in it. It's the smile you wear when you shouldn't be smiling. It's the worship you offer when you feel broken. It's the choice to stay when it would be easier to run. Peace becomes your testimony when you let it lead you through the fire instead of avoiding the flame. Peace becomes your testimony when you stop waiting for perfection and start living from presence. Peace becomes your testimony when you realize the storm doesn't get the final word. People are watching, not to judge you, but to see if the God you talk about is real. And when you walk through the same chaos they do, but with a different spirit, it changes things. It opens hearts, it breaks down cynicism, it makes room for conversations that otherwise wouldn't happen. But even more than what it says to others, your peace is a message to yourself. It tells your soul, I am held. I am not alone. I am loved. I am not forgotten. It recenters you. It silences the lies. It strengthens the truth. So let your peace preach. Let it tell the story of a God who doesn't leave. A God who doesn't panic. A God who isn't surprised by your circumstances. Let it be the banner you wave, not after the battle is over, but while you're still in the thick of it. Because that's what the world needs. Not more arguments, not louder opinions, not bigger platforms. It needs peace, real peace, and it needs people who carry it like a torch through the darkness. You don't have to be perfect to carry that peace. You don't have to have it all together. You just have to stay connected to the source, the vine, the shepherd, the king. And when you do, you'll find that your peace isn't just about you. It's about everyone your life touches. Your kids, your coworkers, your friends, your church, your neighborhood, even your enemies. You were never meant to just survive storms. You were meant to shift atmospheres. So carry your peace with boldness. Let it lead you into rooms where others have given up. Let it guide you through grief. Let it walk you through betrayal. Let it stand with you in uncertainty. Let it become your testimony. The quiet victory. Peace doesn't always look like triumph. Sometimes it looks like tears on your pillow and hands lifted in surrender. Sometimes it looks like getting out of bed one more time, choosing not to numb your pain, showing up for life even when it feels like life didn't show up for you. These moments may seem small, but they are victories, holy ones, because in those quiet, hidden places, something is happening. God is rewriting your story, not by removing the storm, but by revealing His glory through it. There is a victory that comes not after the storm, but in the middle of it. The kind that no one else may see, the kind that doesn't come with applause or recognition, but heaven sees, God sees. And your soul knows, peace is your inheritance, not as a reward for performance, but as a gift of grace. Jesus said, "My peace I give to you." That means you don't have to earn it. You just have to receive it. It's not something you achieve by trying harder. It's something you embrace by trusting deeper. This trust isn't blind. It's not denial. It's rooted in history, your history with God. Remember the last storm? You made it through. Remember the last heartbreak? You're still here. Remember the last time you thought it was over? It wasn't. God's track record is perfect, and He hasn't changed. He's still the same yesterday, today, and forever. And the same God who brought you peace before will bring it again. You are not weak for needing peace. You are wise, because it's not weakness to run to the Father, it's wisdom. It's not weakness to cry in His arms, it's healing. And it's not weakness to declare your dependence on Him, it's worship. Your victory might not look like everyone else's. It might not come with confetti, but it's real, and it's sacred. And every day you choose peace over panic, trust over control, surrender over striving, you win. Every moment you silence the lies of chaos with the truth of God's word, you win. Every step you take, led not by fear, but by faith, you win. Your peace is a protest against darkness, against despair, against defeat. It says, I still believe, and that belief is powerful. So don't minimize what God is doing in you. Don't despise the small victories. Don't wait until the storm ends to celebrate. Celebrate now, because the fact that you're still here, that's a testimony. The fact that you still believe, that's a miracle. God turns chaos into peace not by waving a wand, but by walking with you. Day by day, breath by breath, word by word. And when others ask how you made it, you'll have a story to tell. Not of your strength, but of His. Not of your plan, but of His presence. Not of your willpower, but of His peace. So keep going, keep trusting, keep worshiping. Let your peace lead the way. Because it's not just about surviving the storm. It's about becoming someone new in it. Stronger, softer, deeper, wiser, kinder, more like Christ. And when the storm finally passes, you'll look back, not with regret, but with reverence. Because you'll know, it wasn't the storm that shaped you, it was the Savior who met you in it. So let peace be your legacy, let calm be your confession, let trust be your anthem. You've made it this far, not because the chaos was weak, but because your God is strong. And His peace, it's not just what you carry, it's who you become. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs peace today. Leave a comment and let us know how God has met you in your storm. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a word of hope.